Education is continuing to evolve, and I'm loving the conversations where people are really starting to, let's say, they're picking it apart to redesign it. A lot of us are doing that in our minds, but there are no doubt lots of people working very hard to figure out which part of the education is the important part. Which is really an interesting process, isn't it? If you think that the education system just was, designed hundreds of years ago and just evolved a little bit, and it's still basically reading and writing and sitting in the classroom and listening to a teacher. And the fact that we're picking that apart now and saying, all right, throw away all the assumptions. Maybe it doesn't need to be a teacher. Maybe they don't need to be in the same place. What about these classes? Do you need a college education? Ivanka says companies will train you to do the specific job. So having everything in question about maybe the most important thing that society does, which is educate, because everything good follows from that, right? Once you get your people up to speed, good people create good outcomes. So the fact that our most basic and important, and I would say our alpha system, can I call it that? The apex system, the system that makes all the other systems work, education, is now going to really probably have a complete overhaul, I think. Here's my suggestion for how to improve it. And I don't know if this is high school or this is college or maybe it doesn't matter, but here are the class categories that I would have. This is sort of evolving over time, so you've heard a little of this. One would be a class on, or maybe it's even a major, on life strategy. Things that you would see in, such as in my book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, where I teach things like systems are better than goals and skill stacks are good. So knowing the user interface for life feels like that just should be a course or even a major. That's so important because if you don't get the basics of, well, wait, how does the world work? If you do more of this and less of this, do you get a better result? And the answer is, if you know which button, yes, but you got to know which button to push. I would have a course on how to make decisions. I do that a little bit of that in my book, Loser Think. Actually, that's mostly what the book is about, but that could be taken further. If you look at most of the problems in the news today, from guns to green technology to racism to everything else, they all seem to have a common problem. What is the common problem with everything, guns, racism, green technology? The common problem is that the differences in our opinions are differences in ability to analyze. They're not actually political opinions. These are fake disagreements. If people knew how to analyze things properly, they just knew how to compare two things. Can I compare this pen to this pencil? Now you think it's common sense. Well, you don't need to take a class to compare a pencil to a pen. It's just obvious. And that's where everybody goes wrong because it's not. It's just not. You've got to take into a lot of things into account to do a proper comparison, and you do need to learn it. It's not something that's common sense. I would have a course on persuasion, similar to my book Win Bigly, because if you can't persuade, you can't get much done. Can't get a job, can't sell something, can't get a mate. Yeah, persuasion is pretty important. And then communication in general, which persuasion might be a subset of. So that's what I would teach. And then maybe entrepreneurship. So a little bit about how would you start a business if you wanted to, and what would you need to do if you started a business? What's a corporation? What's a partnership? Just some basics. And these would be at least the beginning of a core platform. Now, obviously, you need the reading and writing and science background, etc. So you need some basics, but this is where I'd go.